What's up, guys? Today we're going to be going over one of my new favorite special weapons in Destiny 2. That is the new Neomuna fusion rifle, the iterative loop, which is going to be a rapid fire frame arc fusion that can get Voltshot on it. And when I first saw this, I wasn't too excited. I was like, Voltshot's mostly a primary perk, but I was definitely wrong. This is one of the best specials in the entire game, and something you definitely need to be getting. So how do you get your hands on this weapon? Well, you gotta farm the heroic patrols. The best way to do that is by loading the overload event or any of the Neomuna patrol spaces, and you just want to reload it over and over again until you see one of these goldish yellow patrols. And when you do them, you'll get one of the Neomuna weapons guaranteed, and it can also be a red border. Once you get 5, you can then craft it. And looking at the roll you want on this thing, once you get all 5 and you can craft the exact roll you want, I'm going to start off with a charge time masterwork because there's going to be a lot of the damage tied to just simply hitting shots with this weapon. So you want to shoot as fast as possible for highest DPS, and that is why we have that. Then for the barrel, if you're someone that knows a lot about fusions and you have a reason to use one over the other, go for it. I put on fluted just for increased stability and handling. But if you know more than me, if you play PvP, there might be better options. Then we also have accelerated coils for the battery, once again to shoot as fast as possible. Then for my first perk, I have compulsive reloader to proc the Voltshot as fast as possible. And you could also use lead from gold. That would be like my second pick, but I think compulsive loader makes a lot of sense for some of the things we'll be doing with this weapon. Then obviously we have Voltshot on it, and both these perks can be enhanced for slightly better benefits. So jumping into some gameplay, Voltshot is as good as it ever was. It's going to be really good for Ackler and add damage to the weapon. And you might be thinking, well, this is a fusion, you can't really spam it for Ackler, but you really can, and we'll be talking about that more later in the video. First, I want to talk about the damage on this weapon. So first, with just the base shot, slant 4926 9 times for a total of 44,000 on Carl. Now with the Voltshot proc and jolting Carl, it's like now add additional number right here, 19926, to the shot. So the volt damage will now be a total of 64,000. And the thing about this weapon compared to other weapons with jolt on them is, for whatever reason, there is no cooldown on how often you can proc the jolt, and you can proc it on every single shot with this fusion. Another thing about this is with the origin trait, the nanotech tracer rockets, landing multiple hits turns your next shot into a homing micro rocket. And with this being a fusion where it hits multiple times per shot, you'll be able to proc that every other shot. So now with that on every second, fourth, sixth, and so on, we will also get these two 8.5 thousand numbers added to the damage. So now with this weapon, once we proc Voltshot by getting a kill first, reloading, you have a decent amount of time to then shoot a boss. Every shot will proc the jolt, and every other will be the micro missiles. And the micro missile damage will be 81.3 thousand, which is going to be quite a lot from a fusion rifle. And fusions, along with most specials in the game, do the same damage to bosses and majors. So looking at damage on the ball, it's going to be the exact same numbers as the damage on Carl, who is a major. So we're just going to use the Carl numbers for DPS, because they're the same for bosses. So looking at rate of fire of 1 mag, I'm actually going to do 6 shots just because of the cycle being every other bullet does the missiles. So for 6 shots, the DPS was 84.5 thousand, which is obviously quite a lot. Just from that number alone, that is almost higher than everything but rockets. And this thing can hold up to 24 ammo, which means if you get Volt for every single shot, it'll be up to 1.7 million. And even without it, I think I ran the numbers, it was like 1.3 if only the first mag is with the jolt. So those numbers are obviously extremely high. So comparing that to Izanagi's Burden, one of the best specials in the game, the damage on Carl is going to be quite a lot higher at 157,000. But with Izanagi's Burden, the shots are going to take a lot longer. 2 shots take roughly 3.5 seconds. But then after the initial shot or 2, the DPS is going to fall off quite a lot. 4 shots taking almost 10 seconds, which means over the first 2 shots, over 90,000 DPS, but over 4 greatly falls off to 63,000. So overall, the fusion is going to be much higher sustained DPS outside of the initial window of burst. With or without reserves, you can shoot off 6 honed edge shots, which means under 1 million total damage, so obviously a lot lower than the fusion. And comparing it to One Final Lane, the new slug shotgun from the raid with the Vorpal and Reconstruction. I chose this slug because it's in the energy slot just like the fusion, so it's going to be a pretty fair comparison. And looking at damage on Carl and the rate of fire, I shot off 7 shots. The DPS over those 7 shots will be 78.3 thousand, which once again is lower than that of the fusion. And looking at the total damage output of this slug with double reserves, it holds up to 20, which means the total damage output of just over 1.1 million, once again lower than that of the fusion. So the fusion's numbers are among the best, if not the best, for specials in the game. And like most specials, you're not going to be purely using it for boss DPS. It's going to be mostly for mini bosses, and that is where this thing really shines. Because a lot of those numbers revolve around, you know, being under the jolt, and that will only be around for maybe 1 mag, maybe a little bit of your second. And those shorter boss fights, either mini bosses, strike bosses, wherever they are, that's where this thing will really shine. And you still have your heavy slot for Hothead, Cataclysmic, whatever it is, for actual raid boss fights and things like that. So where have I been using this weapon? I've been using it a lot in my Strand build, just mousing over everything I have going on. If you watched some of my previous videos, nothing has changed. But I pair this with the Osteo and Necrotic Grip, and I think this is one of the best specials you can pair with that combo. For whenever you get up to those higher health targets, you quickly burst them down, and once again, you still have your heavy slot for actual boss fights. So it's a really good all-around weapon loadout. And as we mentioned earlier in the video, if you want to spam this thing for Acler, which is super effective, all you have to do is run double empowered finish plus special finisher. Then on your boots, you need stacks on stacks. Then on your chest piece, you can also run 1 charged up. And what this combo allows you to do is whenever you get a finisher, final blow, you're going to get at least 3 or 4 if you have charged up armor charges, which means your next finisher will spawn in a special brick and replenish your 3 armor charges at the same time, which means it's going to be an infinite loop where every single final blow will spawn in a special brick. So now with this combo going on, all you gotta do is go crazy with the fusion. Then once you get low on ammo and you can't reload anymore, just like finish 2 or 3 lanes and you're back to full ammo and you can do it all over again. So just showing off the other mods on the screen right now and what I'm using with this build. Pretty straightforward stuff. And overall, this build allows you to go crazy with this fusion and just use it purely for Acler, kind of like the old heavy-handed with the bottom part of it for the infinite ammo. And it's super effective. I feel like the Voltshot on this weapon is better than primaries. I think they kind of stealth nerfed Voltshot on primaries. The radius of the chain feels like way smaller, but with this fusion, it feels like the old one where it can like completely hit everything in a room. And with the amount of damage it does, is really good. And whenever you get up to a major mini boss, whatever it is, you're going to easily destroy them because the DPS under 1 mag is the highest for any special in the game. So yeah, this thing is definitely the real deal. Just throw on those mods and take advantage of it for every single kill in a battleground, strike, whatever you're doing. And it's not only really good, it's super fun and easily one of my new favorite specials in the game. So definitely get your hands on this weapon this season. And yeah, the rest of the video will just be some gameplay from this strike. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.